Let's take a look at two essential CAD data management tasks: undo checkout and check-in. First off, before I do that, I'm going to add a column to the model tree. I will go to the settings icon and then tree columns. Then let's change the type from info to database params. And if you scroll down, here we have one for database status. Let's add that column. I'm going to crank it up to be a little bit wider and click the OK button. That way I have a column in the model tree that tells me the status with regard to Windchill. So I can see the top level assembly here is checked out. I can see that the arm components are checked out. Same with the door. We've got a couple legs checked out. And for two of the different checked out objects, the top level assembly and the feet, they're also modified. So I know what's checked out and what's actually been checked out and changed. Sometimes you check something out and one of your coworkers will reach out to you and say, "Hey Dave, I need to work on this component. You've got it checked out. Can you check it in so I can make changes to it?" Or other situations, you check something out anticipating that you're going to make changes to it. Lo and behold, you don't actually have to make changes to it. So you can undo the checkout of an object. And you can do that from within Creo Parametric. For example, if I decide, hey, you know what, this arm over here, I'm not going to make any changes to it, or my coworker needs it, you can right click on it. And down here at the bottom, we have a bunch of Windchill related commands. Here we can do undo checkout right from right mouse button in the model tree, and looks like it was doing some operations. Let me grab this. Here we see that says undo checkout succeeded. You can see the event manager console for additional details, but you really don't need to do that. All right, let's see anything else in here. Okay, so now let's take a look at how we can check in from in here. And I'm going to warn you, the next three things I'm going to show you, I never do. And then one moment before I do anything, I notice that I need to do a regenerate. Let me do a save over here. I just saw a little status indicator down the bottom indicating that my model was not fully up to date with regeneration. So anyhow, let's say that you want to check in. One way that you can do it is from the file menu. And here you have a check-in command. And the weird thing about the check-in flyout is you have options in here for check-in, but you can also check out and revise and check out and undo checkout from the check-in command. I always find it a little weird when a command says check-in, but you can do the opposite from the flyout. So this is one way that you can execute a check-in operation. Honestly, I never do that. Another way that you can do it is from right mouse button functionality. For example, here we have this component that's been checked out and modified. You can right click on it, and from check-in, here we have two different commands: auto check-in and custom check-in. The auto check-in option will use whatever preferences are set up in your workspace, and it'll just perform the check-in and put the stuff into the common space. By the way, if you're unaware what the check-in command does, well, it's going to update the common space, the vault that everyone has access to, with the latest changes that you have made to the model. Besides auto check-in, you have this custom check-in option. And again, I never do custom check-in, at least not from Creo Parametric. This will bring up a dialog box where you can choose if you just want to check in the models, if you want to actually just check in the viewables. I don't know why you would do that, why you would just check in the viewables. And here you have the option to check in the models and viewables. As soon as you perform the check-in, it'll end up sending the different CAD documents to the publisher. So again, I never do custom check-in. Let me cancel out of here. Where I prefer to do my database operations are from the workspace. So let's go to it. I'm going to go to my folder browser, and then from here I can click on Workspace. And here we see the updated status of the workspace. Let's take a look at an undo checkout. So for example, here I have the bender leg. It's been checked out, but there are no other status symbols, which means it actually hasn't been modified. So you can do an undo checkout by right-clicking on an object, and here's undo checkout from the menu. If you want to undo checkout on multiple objects, you can check the boxes for them, and then from the toolbar over here, we have the undo checkout icon. I will click on it. One reason I prefer doing these different operations from the workspace is that you get a lot more different options in here. You have a lot of icons over here that will allow you to collect related objects. For example, if this was a family table instance, I could grab the generics and vice versa. I could grab related drawings. If for whatever reason I had WT parts in my workspace, I could collect them as well. You also have choices on what you want to do. So let's say that I made some changes to the bender leg model. Well, you could choose if you want to reuse what's in your workspace or if you want to download from the common space so that what you have in your workspace matches the common space. So again, I just prefer to do all my different operations from the workspace because you have a lot more control over the different actions. But in this particular case, I didn't make any changes to this, so I can just reuse what's in my workspace, and I'll just click the OK button. And so now it tells me the undo checkout has succeeded. We no longer have an icon indicating that the object is checked out. Let's take a look now at checking in, and I'm also going to perform an undo checkout when I check in. So in this particular case, here we have the top level assembly. I'm going to specify that I want to check in this object. I'm going to use the icon from the actions group. And you'll notice that even though I just checked in or specified that I wanted to check in the assembly, it automatically grabbed the modified component that was also checked out. So that's nice when you do it. From there, you can see the list of all the other objects that are going to be checked in. And again, you've got a toolbar with some additional icons for what you can do from here. You have some other options. For example, you can go to the edit drop-down menu and you can check something in so that you're updating the common space with latest and greatest, but you can also check it out immediately afterwards so you can prevent someone else from checking it out immediately after you perform the check-in. And as I've shown in other videos, when you perform this check-in, you can use the next button to go to a set options form. Here's where you can create a baseline, which is a snapshot of this assembly and all the specific model iterations at the time that I perform the check-in. This is a great little function when you are trying to create that snapshot like before a design review. Hey, we're going into design review tomorrow. In case we ever want to go back to what this looked at like today, right before the design review, the baseline helps you do that. And another option that you have in here, here's where we can undo the checkout of unmodified objects. So for example, let me cancel out of here real quick. Again, the door component is currently checked out, but it's not modified. Let's go back to the check-in over here. Let's go to the set options tab. And once again, check the box for undo checkout of unmodified objects. That's good. Hey, I no longer need this. I've done all the changes that I want to, so I can also remove from Workspace. Hey, this is always a good option, auto resolve incomplete objects in case you have any ghost objects. And that's when any of the components in your model reference an external model and Creo Parametric doesn't know where that external model is. That's considered a ghost object. And here we have the option to attach the differences result. Because of all the options that you get here from checking in from the workspace, that's why probably 99% of the time I check in from the workspace in the embedded browser in Creo Parametric. So this is good. Let's click the finish button over here. And it's uploading step 1 of 2, step 2 of 2, checking in. And now it says, hey, I said I wanted to remove the objects from the workspace. Right now, they're still open in Creo Parametric. So it wants me to confirm that I am going to erase these objects from the session. I will click the OK button. And now we can see that there's nothing open in Creo Parametric. The model tree is inactive, and I'm going to hit the refresh button over here. We have 0 objects inside of our workspace over here. Oh, let me hit the clear the filter on the table over here. And it looks like I have a bunch of other objects still in the workspace. Again, I strongly recommend that you create a workspace for an individual task. When you are finished with that particular task, hey, you can remove all the different objects from the workspace like I am doing now. And then I can change to a different workspace and delete this particular workspace. I clicked on the server manager icon that I have in my quick access toolbar. If you're using Windchill, you're going to be in the server manager all the time. I highly recommend that you add it to the quick access toolbar as opposed to having to go to file. Oh, where is it in here? It's in here somewhere. Okay, there's the command. Hey, just put it in your quick access toolbar. So anyhow, I have gone in here, I can activate a different workspace, and now that I have activated a different workspace, I can delete the one I was just working on. I will click the OK button. That workspace is no longer listed in here. So again, really good idea. New task, create a new workspace. When you're done with that task, check everything in and then delete that workspace. I hope you enjoyed this video. For more information, please visit www.creowindchill.com. If you learned something from this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like this video, please click the subscribe button and ring the bell to be informed when new videos are uploaded. Thank you very much.